Hi, Peter Jones, author, property investor, ex-chartered surveyor, and in this short series of videos I'm looking at lessons from 2008 which we can extrapolate forward and use in 2020. And in the previous videos I've gone through don't panic, which is what I did when 2008 first happened, and the result of that was I made some very bad decisions which I shouldn't have made. And lesson number 2 was don't confuse busyness with productivity, because eventually, after I'd finished panicking, one of my reactions to the problems of 2008 was to disappear into my office, work for 16 hours a day, doing stuff which actually, although it made me feel purposeful in the sense that I was doing something, the things I was doing actually weren't serving me at all. And I really just wasted 6 months' effort and quite a bit of money as well as time actually trying to do things which were never really going to work out and which didn't help me, and it would be much better if I'd actually just done nothing. So that was a big lesson which I learned in 2008. It's about being strategic and purposeful. And lesson number 3, and you'll see that all of these lessons are really very interlinked. Lesson number 3 is to look after yourself, and I'd suggest to have some kind of a routine, because this is what happened to me. In all of my busyness, in disappearing into my office for 16 hours a day, one of the things which I was doing, as well as doing all this non-productive busy activity, was that I was comfort eating. I used to disappear into my office with some chocolate or some donuts or some peanuts. Can you believe how calorific peanuts are? They're not innocent, are they? They look nice and innocent when you have a little bowl of peanuts, but they are not. They're full of fat, very highly calorific. And it's not surprising that over the course of maybe a year of doing this, that I ended up putting on a lot of weight. Because whilst I was in my office spending 16 hours a day not really achieving very much, I wasn't doing all the things which I used to do, such as doing regular exercise. I used to be very keen on going cycling. I used to cycle 25 miles regularly, most days of the week, on my mountain bike up the local trail, which was really good. And I go to the gym and I do all kinds of stuff. But because I felt I should be doing something, I ended up in my office comfort eating and doing all that kind of stuff. Now you might be thinking, what's this actually got to do with property? What's this got to do with business? Well, actually everything. Because if you're going to do business, are you going to do business well or badly if you're under the weather, if you're not feeling good, if you're not fit? The reality is you're going to do much better work. You're going to be much more efficient. You're going to have much more energy. You're going to be able to make better decisions because you're thinking more clearly if you're looking after yourself than if you're not looking after yourself. If you're overweight and unfit like I was, that's going to translate into the results that you achieve in business. So what should we learn from this? Well, I learned that you need to have a routine. And one of the things which I've been making sure I'm actually not quite, but very consistent about in 2020 is that I've written out in my diary everything that I'm going to do for the next 60 days or so. Who knows how long lockdown's going to be? It could be quite a while, and if we get to the end of the 60 days and we're still in this kind of like in-between existence, then I will extrapolate forward and I'll put some more in. But basically it's almost like going back to school. I've got my timetable. Do you remember at school that you'd have the timetable, you'd fill it in at the beginning of every term, and you'd know what you were going to be doing, which lesson you were going to be at 9 o'clock, then 10 o'clock, then 11 o'clock, lunches at 12:30 till 1:30, or whatever it happens to be. And I've literally done that, and I'm going to keep to that. And within that, there's obviously the work that I need to do to progress towards achieving my goals, but there's also looking after my physical health and also looking after my mental health, because again, all part of the same lesson. While I was sat in my office for 16 hours being busy but not being productive, there was plenty of time for me to actually get lost in my own thoughts, and my thoughts were fairly gloomy, and I ended up going into a downward spiral. So a big lesson from 2008 for 2020 is to watch my mental health and to make sure that I'm not delusional, but that I'm actually thinking positive thoughts which are going to serve me and thoughts which are going to help me to survive and to thrive and to come out at the other end, hopefully in no worse a position, but possibly in an even better position. And again, all of this is part and parcel of having a good routine and looking after yourself. So things like drinking plenty of water, eating the right food, making sure you exercise, that's got to be on your timetable, as well as doing all of the business stuff as well. So I hope you found that helpful. Until next time, please stay safe and healthy.